The Yankees just swept the Guardians in Cleveland, winning the first game 7-5, the second game 3-2, and the third game 8-4. And honestly, this may have been the most important series they've played since Judge went down. Because this wasn't about replacing Judge. Nobody replaces Judge. Instead, this series showed something different. The Yankees are starting to figure out how to survive without him. Different heroes, different moments, different ways to win. Extra innings in Game 1, a clutch home run in Game 2, a huge challenge and base running play in Game 3, and throughout the entire series, the Yankees kept answering. And that's what stood out. Not dominance, but response. So to recap, the first game we end up winning 7-5 in 10 innings. Will Warren started. He went 4.1 innings, giving up 2 runs on 3 hits and 2 walks while striking out 5. Early in the game, in the first inning, Goldie hit a 2-run homer to give us the 2-0 lead. We tacked on 1 more run, and then Cleveland scores 3 in the third, the last run scoring on a Caballero error. That tied the game at 3. And then McMahon hit a home run in the 5th to give us a 4-3 lead. Well, Blackburn then gives up a 2-run homer in the 6th to give the Guardians a 5-4 lead. And luckily, we had Goldschmidt up in the 8th inning to get the RBI in the 8th to tie the game at 5. In the 10th inning, Cody Bellinger has a 2 RBI single, and the Yankees hold on to win 7-5. Bednar came in and pitched 1.2 innings, 0 hits, 0 runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, and he gets the win. In Game 2, it was a much more pitching dominant game. Garrett Cole started. He goes 4 innings, gives up 2 runs on 5 hits and 2 walks, while getting 4 strikeouts. Spencer Jones hits his first career home run. It's a 2-run shot in the second inning to give the Yankees a 2-0 lead. Cleveland then scores 2 runs in the bottom of the third to tie the game, and one of those hits could have been an error on Volpe, because it's a play that he should have made, a ball right at him, and he kind of just fell out of the way. And anyway, the game's tied at 2. Going into the 8th, Jazz Chisholm comes up big, hits a solo shot, gives the Yankees a 3-2 lead, and Fernando Cruz gets the 5-out save, going 1.2 innings, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts, including striking out the side in the 9th. So in the third game of the series, the Yankees ultimately win 8-4. The game was started by Carlos Rodón. He goes 6 innings, giving up 3 runs on 4 hits and 3 walks, while striking out 7. In a 3-3 game in the 6th inning, this was the turning point where Grisham challenges a ball that would have been strike 3, ends up changing the count, and then he goes on to hit a triple. The next batter, Caballero, comes up, hits a shallow fly ball to left, and he ends up scoring on a sac fly. The ball beat him, but it was wide, and he had this incredible slide to avoid the tag. The Yankees go on to score 3 runs in the inning and end up winning the game 8-4. Our biggest contributors on offense were, once again, Goldschmidt, Grisham, and Caballero, all having 2 hits in the game. So we had 3 wins, 3 very different games. And maybe for the first time since Judge got hurt, the Yankees looked like a team with a plan. So what held in this series? Well, number 1 is clutch offense. This was the story of the series. In Game 1, we're down 5-4. You need a late run. Goldschmidt ties it. Bellinger wins it. In Game 2, it's tied 2-2 in the 8th. Jazz hits the go-ahead home run. In Game 3, it's tied 3-3. Grisham overturns strike 3, triples, scores. Yankees offense explodes, and the offense just kept producing the big moments when they needed to. So this clutch offense was every single game in this series, which is exactly what you want to see when you're facing a playoff team in the Guardians, and they were also a first-place team until we swept them. Now the White Sox are in first. Second thing that held, Paul Goldschmidt continues to carry the offense. And, when he was signed, it was more like the insurance plan when Stanton goes down, and then he comes in, him and Rice are splitting first base and DH. What a series for him. Game 1, he has the first inning home run. He has the game-tying RBI late. Game 3, he has another multi-hit game. So while everyone focuses on Judge's absence, Paul Goldschmidt is quietly becoming one of the most important players on the roster. I feel like we've seen him, Bellinger, and Jazz all step up recently, but for a guy who was supposed to be a role player and not be playing every game to come in and have an impact on every game, you love to see it. The third thing that held in this series is the bullpen. And this has been a problem for most of the season, but the bullpen deserves credit here. Bednar goes 5 outs in the first game, gets the win. Fernando Cruz gets the 5-out save in Game 2. This bullpen, like I said, they've taken a lot of criticism, and deservedly so. But this series, they helped us win games. And against a decent offense in Cleveland. Those are guys who can hit for average, can hit for power, and they shut them down when they had to. So what did not hold in this series? Well, there are a few things. Number 1, Volpe. At some point, we have to have this conversation. The struggles are continuing, and now the roster situation is getting interesting. Because eventually, Dominguez is going to return, Stanton's going to return, and suddenly the difficult decisions are going to start having to be made. And for a while now, the Yankees have avoided making the uncomfortable decisions because you've had the injuries that have forced your hand to make moves. But that might be changing with guys starting to come back. The second thing that didn't hold was the defensive consistency. Caballero's error contributed to Cleveland getting back into the game in Game 1. Volpe had that ball in Game 2 that was scored a hit, but very easily could have been an error that led to some runs for them tying the game in Game 2. And these little things still matter, because when the margin is slim, which is going to be more slim than ever with no Judge, every run matters. And every time you make an error, you're giving the other team opportunities to score runs. And you just cannot be giving those out. And the third thing that did not hold is Gerrit Cole is still not quite all the way back. He went 4 innings, gave up 2 runs. It's not bad, but that's not peak Gerrit Cole. And it's understandable. I mean, he had that injury. He was out for a while. He had 2 incredible starts when he came back. But it's going to take some time for him to get into his groove. So we will give him some grace here. But it is something to keep an eye on. He's not quite who he is yet. But hopefully he will get there by the end of the year. So did the Yankees respond in this series? Well, this is one of the strongest responses we've seen all season. You got to remember, the Yankees just lost a series to Cleveland at home last week. The questions were everywhere. Judge was out, Volpe struggling, the offense being inconsistent. You have that split against Boston, and then you go into Cleveland and sweep them. That is a response. So, what was the turning point of the series? Well, I think it comes down to Jazz's home run in Game 2. Because Game 2 of a series is pretty pivotal. You had some momentum. You won Game 1. Coming into Game 2, had a 2-0 lead. Let it slip. It's 2-2 late in the game. And he comes up clutch with that home run. Wins us the game. Wins us the series. And then we've got momentum going into the third game to complete the sweep. So that one hit changes the series. Because if you lose that game, you lose the momentum. And who knows what happens in the third game. Especially with that being so close later in the game as well. You never know. Momentum carries over from one game to the next. For our player performances, the positive, we have to recognize Goldschmidt. Like I said before, this was his series. He had power. He had clutch hits. He was super consistent. You know, he's a veteran. He's bringing that leadership. Yankees needed someone to stabilize the offense without Judge. And Goldschmidt is one of the guys who answered the loudest and the clearest. Our concern out of this series is Volpe. Because right now, the concern isn't just one bad game. It's the accumulation and the timing. Because roster pressure is coming. With guys coming back from the IL in the near future, Yankees are going to have to make some decisions whether the development of Volpe is better served in the majors or somewhere else. And with Caballero playing decent, I mean, prior to Volpe coming back, he was the top-graded defensive shortstop in the majors. I know he had his error in the first game, but he's at least getting hits. So, what happens to Volpe? That's going to become a real conversation. And then, who is trending? It's Jazz Chisholm. Because something interesting is happening with him. He started using Judge's bat. And suddenly the production follows. Another huge home run in Game 2. Another big moment. And the confidence just looks different with him right now. And from what I heard on the broadcast the other day, it sounds like Jazz using Judge's bat, because the bat is heavier, he has to focus more on having a smooth, controlled swing. And having that smooth, controlled swing is actually allowing him to make better contact with the baseball. And we've seen it over the last few games. He is getting those big hits. He's actually got power. He doesn't need to swing as hard as he was before. So it's good to see Jazz Chisholm trending up. For our structural check, what did this series tell us? Well, what is aligned right now? The veteran leadership, first and foremost. I mean, you're seeing it with Goldschmidt, with Bellinger. These guys are just producing at an unbelievable rate right now. The bullpen execution, normally something that's not aligned for us. This series, it went as well as it could have. Team resilience is also aligned. You know, without Judge, like we said, you got to find different ways to make things happen, to score runs. Grisham made something happen with that challenge, the triple, the sac fly, the slide, all that. You're forcing your way to score runs. You're taking runs as opposed to waiting for something to happen. And the fact that they've had multiple contributors. Every single game, you're having multiple people come through when you need them to. Another positive, the Yankees aren't just trying to replace Judge with one player. They're replacing him collectively. And that's the correct approach. I mean, you look at what happened when we lost out on Juan Soto. You lose out on one player, but we were able to add Max Fried, Paul Goldschmidt, and Cody Bellinger. So, none of those three guys are quite as good individually as Soto, but those three guys combined give you a lot more than one player can do out of one position in the lineup. So, what is not aligned? Well, number one, first and foremost, is Volpe's development. It's still unresolved. Every year, the Yankees just seem so confident in him that he's going to be good. And he shows flashes of it. I mean, he hit the grand slam in the World Series. Even after the first 5 or 6 games when he first came up this year, he was coming through with big hits. He won one of the games out in Sacramento. But then he goes through these long stretches of not being productive. So something's got to be figured out with him, or the experiment's got to come to a close. And then the other thing is the defensive inconsistency. Like I said, we are giving away way too many free opportunities to other teams. You're a major leaguer, you got to be able to play major league defense. So the biggest takeaway from this series, the Yankees are actually finally showing that they can win games without the superstar. Not because they're better without him. That would be ridiculous to say. But they're actually adapting. And that's different. So what have we learned from this series? Well, number one, Goldschmidt is becoming an offensive anchor. This wasn't the plan. Like I said, he was not supposed to ever play every day. He was always going to be just a role player for this year. But in the absence of Judge, Goldschmidt is standing out. The second thing we learned is the bullpen may be stabilizing. This is their best series in a long time. And while I still think that we can and should add pieces, and I do think those pieces are in AAA right now, they actually had a great showing. And we'll see if they can build off of it. And then the third thing is the Yankees are actually getting more comfortable without Judge. And that's critical. Because the biggest thing we said when we found out that he was hurt is you need to survive until he comes back. You need to beat the teams that are worse than you, and you need to compete with the teams that you might face in the playoffs. And we just did that in this series. So for our trend line, what's trending up? Goldschmidt's trending up. Jazz is trending up. The bullpen is trending up a little bit. Our team resilience is trending up. And our confidence is trending up. We can win games in different ways. We don't need one superstar to carry the team. When you get contributions from different guys throughout the lineup, top to bottom, you can win games in many ways. And we did that. And the one thing trending down right now is Volpe. So, what should we watch for in this next series upcoming? Well, number one, can Goldschmidt continue to produce? He's become incredibly important. He was not expected to do this much, this often. So we'll see if he can continue that into this weekend series. The second thing to watch is the bullpen finally turning the corner. Now, we had guys struggle. I know Tim Hill had a few outings where he was not great. He had a good one against the Red Sox last series. He did have another appearance in this series against Cleveland. Didn't give up any runs. So, good to see Fernando Cruz lock down the save. Bednar get the win. Hopefully, this series will give them the confidence to continue to improve. And then the third thing to watch for next series, what happens with Volpe? The uncomfortable decision is getting closer. And according to our sixth pillar of the standard, great teams have to make uncomfortable decisions early. They need to be proactive, not reactive. So we'll see if Volpe continues to struggle or if they wise up a little bit and maybe play Caballero at short and put Volpe on the bench for now. For our final verdict, this was not the Yankees' most dominant series, but it might have been one of their most important because for the first time since Judge got hurt, they looked comfortable. Not panicked, not desperate, comfortable. The Yankees are learning something every contender eventually has to learn, and that's how to win when your biggest advantage is not available. And this series was the strongest evidence yet that they are finally figuring it out. And that's the standard. Not just winning when everything's working, but proving you can adapt when your best player isn't there. This is the standard with Brian Leavy.